Hello, this is David White from the Sportsman's Emporium, and I want to talk about meat processing and a little bit of tips and pointers on processing your own meat and how you can get better results, especially if you don't have things like a walk-in refrigerator, freezer, or the cold weather for days of time that you need to cure your deer meat. You know, I think the two biggest things that I've noticed a difference when I'm processing meat, and I've been cutting my own meat for years, is to get it off the bone and debone it, and don't cut through bone while you're cutting your meat, because that marrow flavor kind of gets a little funky flavor in there, and it's tough to get your wife to eat it when that stuff's in it. And another thing is just curing your meat properly. Whenever a deer dies, the natural enzymes in the meat start to break down and tenderize the meat a little bit. The longer we can let that process go, the better and more tender the meat will be and the results will be. The problem with that is if it's not cold outside, you can't hang your deer because it needs to be around 40 degrees, maybe a little over 40 degrees, and never get over that to hang it safely. So what I do is I will take my meat off the bone, I'll skin my deer and get the hide off. I'll carefully take all the meat off the bones and separate it in chunks. I won't cut it down the steaks, I'll keep it in big pieces like roasts and try to keep the hind quarter and everything mostly intact. What I like to do after that is clear a spot in my fridge. I actually have an extra refrigerator for this. Clear a spot in the fridge, and I'll put a little drip pan with a rack, with a little drying rack over top of it. And I will actually put my big chunks of meat on that and let it stay in my refrigerator for a week, sometimes even more. The main thing that you want to look out for, and the reason I use the drip pan, is you know, the meat won't go bad like that. It'll actually cure and get better. But if it sets in its own blood, it'll start to get funky and create bacteria then that's undesirable. So what you want to do, I use the drip pan with the screen over top of it so the blood can drip off. But if you don't have that, you'll just need to watch it and drain your little pan. Whatever you have your meat in, you need to drain it once or twice a day and flip your meat every day 2 times. If you do that and keep your meat cooled in the fridge while the enzymes start to break down, you don't need to hang a full-body deer to get the same results as you would, because everybody's heard about curing your meat, and the longer you hang it, the more tender it is. Well, if you can't hang it, you can take the meat off the bone, take it down in quarters. Even if you don't get it off the bone, you can put it in your fridge like that. But if you keep it mostly intact and keep it off its own blood, the meat will cure, and it will turn out way more tender and way less gamey tasting. And that, I think, is the best way to cure meat.